Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our call this evening. This is the 3MT Leadership Call, and my name is Dr. Hausa Johnson, and I'd like to welcome each one of you. We really appreciate you carving out some time in your evening to share with us. I'm really excited this evening because, as we do each week, we have exciting news to share with each one of you. Our speaker this evening is rejuvenated and fresh off of a well-deserved vacation. And, with that being said, she's back on track, and she's not missed a beat with continuing her passion to share with others how they can really live their best life. And by that, I mean really beginning the journey to taking ownership of our health and getting on that path to developing optimal health and wellness for ourselves. And at the same time, as we're doing that for ourselves, as we're learning how to walk that walk and talk that talk, we're also placing ourselves in a position to share that opportunity with others. With our phenomenal product, our Jasmine Tile Tea, we ourselves are experiencing tremendous health benefits, and so it's natural for us to want to share that with others. So it gives me extreme pleasure to present to you this evening the lady that I'm talking about. Her name is Miss Debbie+Smith+Torrence, and it's a pleasure to work with her because, like I said, her passion has become helping other individuals to learn really how to live their best life. She's made that her calling, and she's full of tremendous knowledge. She's a business strategist and an IT Google developer, and she's harnessed the power of technology to advance our cause in this opportunity. So with that, I'd like to present to each and every one of you Miss Debbie+Smith+Torrence. Ms. Torrence, are you there, please?
Absolutely, Dr. Hausa, absolutely. I just want to acknowledge you first and foremost tonight of your diligence, working behind the scenes with me, picking me up sometimes when I'm a little bit tired, and just brainstorming, putting our heads together and making it work, because it takes a team to make the dream work. One person alone can't be the driver, the navigator, the thinker, and all those things. And we have a tremendous, wonderful team full of talent. We have a lot of talented individuals on our team. Dr. Hausa, I just thank you so much for helping me to navigate the call, not just only the call, but the strategies pouring into the team and what we're going to be creating as a team. And that's what leads me to our Plan B, and I just really want to acknowledge you and just say thank you this evening.
Thank you.
So with that being said, I want to get on with the call. Tonight what we're going to talk about, I had an individual call me, and sometimes you have to change the plan of what you were going to talk about on the call, and this completely changed my whole direction of the call tonight, which is going to be about something else. And it turned out to be your Plan B. And I'm going to break it down. Someone called me and they said, hi, I've been noticing, you've got a lot of momentum on the Internet. You're really good at what you do. You're a professional network marketer. I have a Plan B for you that I think will be a great fit for you, and blah, 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 blah. And, sometimes you just have to, even though sometimes you just don't want to listen to it because you're so versed into what you're doing, but you still have to be courteous enough to listen to that person. And just, give that person an audience or give them an audience later, because you really don't want to burn bridges. Your time is important and it's valuable, but it's just the way that you do what you do. So it's not what you do, it's how you do it. So I needed to listen to her, and she tried to tell me a little bit. And she says, well, we have all these products, and I noticed that she did do a little research. But she said, I noticed you only have one product, and blah, blah, blah. I said, yeah. She said, but, we have a whole host of products. We have this, and that. We have one to help you to sleep, so you sleep good at night. We have one to give you energy in the morning. We have another one that you can rub on you for pain. We have another one where you can think straight, gives you mental clarity. We have another one for male health, for women's health. We have another one. And so I'm just listening to her. I'm giving her this audience, and I said, okay. All right. I said, well, can you tell me about the comp plan, or just tell me, just a little bit of, I just wanted to see where she was coming from. And I said, and what your strategy is, and what is your plan B? That's really what I wanted to get down to. The first thing she said to me, oh, okay. She said, well, let me get my upline on the phone. I said, no. You called me. Your upline didn't call me. This is not peek and pass. When you're dealing with professional network marketers, there's no such thing as peek and pass. If you're going to call someone that's a professional marketer, you should be able to speak to them. You should be able to hold their attention. And you should be able to explain the opportunity, the compensation plan, and why it's a plan B. How does this, so I want you to explain to me how and why is this a plan B for me. And she said to me, well, my upline usually does that. I said, well, see, your upline is setting you up to fail. It's okay. What you should have done is that you should have told your upline, this is somebody that I have my eye on, and I really would like to see if we can talk to this person. And your upline should have been in the conversation from the beginning and then closed me. And then if she could have closed me, I should have been your person, because you brought me to the fold. And so that's the way that it's supposed to go. If you're not, because you weren't ready for that, but I commend what you're trying to do, because that is how you learn. You learn through failure and experience. But that didn't talk about the plan B. So I said, you know what, I need to talk to my team tonight also, and others listening on the call, about what is a plan B. And I've been seeing people throwing it around so loosely on the internet because they feel like that's going to get your attention and it's going to drive traffic, and people are going to want to talk to me. Okay, well, if you do get them to want to talk to you, how are you going to hold their attention? Are you going to be there? Well, the reason why I wanted you to join us because we have all these products. Okay, but how does all these products relate to me? How does this make me have a plan B? And what is a plan B? What really actually is it? Your plan B is your contingency plan. That's what your plan B is. Your plan B is driven by asset management. And so we're going to break down all these things tonight. Is your contingency plan, is it applicable? Is it meaningful? And is it personal? Those are the three things that's going to get you through the door. What can I talk to you that's going to be to you about that's going to be meaningful to you? And how can I bring it to you? And how can I curtail it to such a personal level where you can understand it? Is it applicable to what you're doing today? Those are the three things. Those are the three biggest things that if you can follow that contingency plan, then you can be successful. Is it meaningful to you? Can I personalize it to your life? And is it applicable to my style of business of what I'm doing? Or is it something that I can even visualize being applicable to my life? That's part of what that plan B is. And that's very important. And so those are some of the things that we're going to talk about, that right there. And that's when, after we can get that, those three, the big three, that's what I call the big three. Some of my team on the line tonight, they all know that's how I operate. I never broke it down to team members, but that's how I operate. The other big thing that I look at, then after I can get that part done, the next is asset management. How can I monetize this opportunity to bring value to you? And then it can become a plan B. What are my general mechanisms for success? How do I monetize it? What mechanisms do I have in place for success? And then after I get that in place, can I scale it up? Scale up means, can I duplicate me? Can I go 10 deep? And then sometimes, can I go wide? Well, we already have a system in place on teaching our team how to go wide. We're already going deep. So then we got to scale up. So if I can teach each team member how to scale up 10 times, that's a better plan B. It's doable. It can be executed. And it's a proven method of success. That's the other thing. Okay? And is this plan B going to create space in the market? Then what do I mean by space in the market? Your plan B has to be so good that it takes up a lot of space in your niche. That's why it has to be just that good. It takes what you're doing and building needs to take up space. Space means growth. You need to have space and growth in your market. And that's what I want. That's what you need to understand. Then, after all of that, then we need to get down to what are our assets really? Well, let me break this plan B down. Our assets, number one, our biggest asset is our product after us, because we're the salespeople. We're the first people you're going to meet. After us is the asset. And the asset is the fact that what we have has been around for over 5,000 years. And if I really want to get down to the numbers of it, it's been around since 2732 BC, since I really want to get into it. It's been around that long, okay? So if you have a product that's been around that long and it hasn't gone anywhere, that's an asset right there. That's an asset. Some products only have a shelf life or longevity for in business, maybe 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and then everybody's doing it. But the most beautiful thing about this is that everybody is drinking tea. But the most beautiful thing about that tea has so many different uses that we can't even name them all. It's more than just drinking tea. There's a business side of tea, and then there's a medicine side of tea. It's called alternative medicine. And then alternative medicine is such an asset because it's going to be, the alternative medicine industry is going to be a $96 billion industry, no, $196 billion industry projected, and is moving quickly and is moving fast. And not only that, it outweighs the pharmaceutical industry. There's more people deriving from alternative medicine today than pharmaceutical medicine. And why is that? The supply and demand. Here we are in our corner of the world. We are the only nation, we're the only country that the supply is just as big as the demand. So definitely it's an asset. Trust and believe it's an asset. We just have to look at how many different ways we want to use it. How many different ways can people use it? And then we get into the medical side of it. That's when we get into that. And then we get into okay, let's talk about the supply. Or let's talk about the demand. Okay, the supply is how many different ways can it be used? Okay, is it tangible? Yes, it is. And then the second thing is that we want to look at is demand. Okay, who's fueling this thing? Who's fueling this industry? Gen X is. The millennials are. They're all fueling this thing. And they're the decision makers for today and tomorrow. Okay, until the next generation is discovered of what their mindset is and what their thinking is. So why is this a plan B? The supply is there, the demand is there, the product has longevity. All you need to do is know how to use it and make it work, and that's what a strategic plan of action. And then you start to monetize your assets. Then you get to start monetizing your assets. And so once you start monetizing these assets, then everything starts to fall in place. Okay? And then you just look at your land, you start to look at your real estate. When I say real estate, I'm not talking about houses. I'm talking about your digital landscape, your digital real estate, because that's what's going to fuel it and drive it, because that's part of the plan B for us. Okay? And that's such a big niche right now today. You can't see a video. You can't see anything done also on the Internet, and not just the Internet, okay? The mobile platform far exceeds the Internet, okay? And so everything that we look at now is through video presentations, robots, bots, okay, artificial intelligence. That's part of our digital assets in our landscape. That's part of that right there is part of our real estate. That's called digital real estate. Some of you tonight, I'm talking in terms of things that you never even heard me say, that you never even thought would come out of my mouth, and only because I usually pretty much think about this in my head, and I never really put it on paper. But tonight I'm really going to put it to audio so that you can listen to me, because you trust and believe. Trust and believe I'm not a newbie about this. This is my playground, and this is where I flourish, and this is where I play. I say play because I like to work, and when I work, if you find something you really like doing, you'll never work another day in your life because you'll love it for the rest of your life. Okay? And then you start living your best life. When I tell people live your best life, I really mean live your best life. I am not speaking to you and saying to you to do something that I'm not willing to do. But once you start to practice these things, what I'm giving you is what a business plan is. This is what people do. You have to be relentless about your plan B. Your plan B has to be strategic. It has to be scalable. You must have a commitment from yourself like no other commitment in your life. Because guess what? It needs to be 10 times more duplicatable of yourself, of who you yourself are. It has to be duplicatable. It has to be scalable. Those are the most important things, because if you're able to do these things, then you're able to attain success. Because you already know what you're capable of doing, but how many more people can you help to be a duplicate of yourself? Well, the next thing we do is we put a system in place. We put a duplicatable system in place. We put the technology to work. And we do that by creating universities, scalable systems that are in place, that they can be read, they can be duplicated, they can be copied, they can be all the things that need to be there for success. And why are we doing that? Because people don't like to read anymore. So if I give you a video to look at, that video, you're going to comprehend it. If you look at it 10 times, you're going to comprehend it 10 different ways. It's going to be more meaningful each and every time, and the reason why it's more meaningful each and every time is because you see a little bit more. Just like you watch a picture on TV, and you turn around and watch that picture, and you see that movie 1 year ago, you come back and look at it the next year, you've seen something you didn't see before. You got a meaning. You got a plot. There was a plot in that movie that you didn't see before. Oh, I understand it. Now I understand more about the end of the movie, the beginning of the movie, how the movie is going to end, the very beginning, the middle, the end, and it starts to be, it makes your mind think a little bit deeper, and you think a little bit deeper. So when you think deep, you get deep results. Your results become deep. But you can't be deep unless you're willing to practice, unless you're willing to put your best foot forward, unless you're willing to become immersed in your plan B. You can't decide that I'm going to have a plan B and everything I've done a year ago and I missed a year, so now I'm going to be retroactive. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. The way that your plan B works, it works based on being first is your plan B. And the next thing you know, you fix it up a little bit more, it became your plan C. You fix it up a little bit more, it became your plan D. You fix it up even more because you keep scaling up. You keep going up. You keep adding to it because it's based on what's happening in today's events, what people want, what people need. All those different things become part of your plan B. So say, for instance, if you have a plan B and you decide I'm going to use this system and this technology, but then there's a glitch. Okay, so now your plan B just went to plan C. But the point is that becomes experience. And by experience, we start to experience growth within ourselves, and we can help others to realize and receive that growth. But you can't do that unless you yourself, if you have an executable plan of action that you're willing to follow and say, if you do this, and that, I did all these things. These things do work. I don't need you to reinvent the wheel, but if you want to help me with the wheel, that's fine. Nobody knows everything. But the point is it scalable? Then it's becoming scalable. It's becoming duplicatable. It's becoming viable. It just got real. That's what I'm trying to get you to think deep. This is how deep I really think. And most people, if I put them in a room with me and I start talking to them about how deep I really think, they may think I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy. Not by a long shot. I just like using every inch of my brain that I can. I like to be able to use most of the brain that I have so that I can continue to grow. But if I never challenge myself, how can I grow? If I never challenge myself with knowledge, how can I grow? If I myself don't practice what I preach, how do I expect anybody else to listen to me? How can I have an intelligent, meaningful conversation? There's people that call you and they say, oh, well, I'm trying to do, I know whether you're trying to do something or not. I can look at your numbers because the numbers never lie. Numbers are all, the numerical system that's practiced in our country, it's fail-proof. The only reason why a person can get away with something because they may be fraudulent in the numbers. But if those numbers are true, real, correct, and accurate, then you're going to be successful because numbers help us to become scalable. It helps us to decide what direction to go in business. It helps us to know whether or not this business plan is failing and it's no longer scalable, and I need to fix it. And so that's really what a plan B is. A plan B does not mean you just throw it around loosely. Oh, well, do you have a plan B? Okay, well, what if that person calls you on your stuff and say, well, tell me about your plan B. Why is it a plan B? Why does it relate to me? How can it become my plan? That's your plan B. That's not my plan B. It doesn't. But this plan B is anybody's plan B. This one right here is anybody's plan B. Because everybody wants to know that they have something that's going to last. You just can't throw a plan B around and say, it's your retirement plan. Okay, well, all right, well, why is it my retirement plan? How is this plan going to help me to retire? Then you start talking about the things that I'm telling you, and then they can envision that. And they become a bigger part of your plan. But if you can't give anybody anything that makes any sense, and you need to get somebody on the phone to explain it to them, well, then they can't. When I finished with the young lady today, she wanted to know more about the opportunity. She said, no one ever explained this to me before. No one ever said this to me before. And I've been doing this for 4 years, and no one ever said anything like this. And I said, I'm going to tell you why nobody ever said anything, because it's all scripted. It's scripted, baby. That's the reason why they never said it. A friend of a friend of a friend of a friend gave me the script, and them the script, and then them, and then them, and them, and them, and them, and them. But guess what? Most of the script, by the time it got to them and them and them and them and them, it got lost in translation. So it's no longer translatable as to what the person really, really wrote. Okay? But if you have a system in place, it can never get lost in translation. Guess why? Because you always have something to go back and reference. And then it's more scalable. It's even more scalable. It's duplicatable. But by the time you talk to Aunt Jane on the telephone, and Aunt Jane told you the same thing that Aunt Jean told you, and then Aunt Jean turned around and tried to tell you the same thing that Aunt Martha told you, between 50% of that conversation is going to get left out between those 3 women. And that's what happens when you don't have a scalable system. That's what happens when you don't have a duplicatable system. And guess what we do? Because we have our university. And most of the time when people see it, they're floored. And this is some of the things that I was able to even work on a different portal and create on vacation, because guess what? Remember what I told you? If you do something you love, you'll never work again. And I loved doing what I was doing. Even though I was getting tired, every little piece of moment of something that I was thinking about, I had to put it down. I had to write it down. I had to make it come to life. I had to take it from paper, from pencil, from pad to words, to something that you could envision. And then I was satisfied that I had done what I needed to do. I had took my vision and I put it on the screen where you could look at it. And then as soon as I came back home, I had to do one of our team members, 2 of our team members, Brittany McDaniels and also Karen Tolliver. Well, they had me to come to a breast cancer awareness event. And I was able to quietly observe these women that I was going to talk to, because they didn't know who I was. And we didn't have it in the capacity as if I was presenting. But I got a chance to look at them real and in the raw, okay? And I got a chance to understand where they were coming from. And it really made it more passionate and more real for me to be able to present to them. And I was able to take something in the system, and I was able not only to just take something in the system, I was able to make it meaningful and personable and applicable to every woman in that room. And when I say we closed the room, we closed the whole room. And it wasn't 2 or 3 people. When I looked around, my business partners had a whole page of women written down. And then we got an invite and said, please come back. Can you all come and speak for us at this event? And it's every second Tuesday of the month. We just need you. Then when I got home, I had another lady call me and say, listen, I've been following you for some time, and I have a women's group, and it's 200 of us in this group. And we would like to have you help us with the health and wellness part of what you're doing and inject that into what we're doing. I said, absolutely. I never stopped since I've been home. I've only been home since Sunday, but I never stopped. Okay, I got home Saturday night, and then on Sunday, I was in that living room with a room full of people, and this is when it becomes real. Okay? And then I was on the phone all the way home almost, so I was talking to another lady, and then it's starting to become scalable. And it's getting more personal because of the digital footprint that I've left on the Internet of someone talking to you and calling you over Facebook that you don't even know. It's becoming more scalable. It's becoming duplicatable because people can see from their own perspective how this can relate to them. And if I can get her to come and work with us, we can all create something even more meaningful. So I don't throw those 3 words around loosely either because they mean a lot to me. Is it applicable to you? Is it applicable to me? Is it meaningful to you? Is it meaningful to me? Is it personal to you? Is it personal to me? Those are my big 3. That's my big 3 right there. That's exactly how I do this business. It has to be meaningful to who I'm talking to. If it's not meaningful to them, and if I can't figure out why it needs to be meaningful or how I can make it meaningful to them, then that person is not a viable candidate for what we're doing. And I have to make the right decision and say they don't belong in this plan because they don't fit. Okay? But if they come to us and say, I'd like to become part of what you're doing, something that we said was meaningful, and they've already qualified themselves. I didn't have to qualify them. They qualified themselves. And then it becomes even more scalable. It becomes even more duplicatable. It becomes very real at that point. Then you know you have something. And these are the things that I want each and every one of you to think about because I just gave you a serious business course and a very scalable business course. And I did it in 30 minutes. And that's what I plan to do tonight. Talk to you for 30 minutes, make it meaningful, make it applicable, make it scalable, and make it personal. Those are the 3 things. And every one of you on this call is thinking about those 3 words. And not only that, the ones of you that are team members on the call, those of you are you have a whole new way of doing business. And that whole new way of doing business is with those 3 words: meaningful, scalable, applicable. Is it part of the plan B? Absolutely. Is it lucrative enough? Is it asset management? Can I monetize these assets? Am I able to do that? And can I create a space in my own market that's going to be viable for my plan B? Of course you can. As long as you stick to the script and the basics of what we talk about in the university, as long as you stick to what's duplicatable, it's not really a script. It's a business plan. As long as you stick to that business plan, of course you can. Absolutely you can. Okay, but that's your business tool. Those are your business assets. Those are your business tools. That's why that university is there. It's there to help you. It's there to teach you what I know. And it's there for me to continue to be better. Okay? As transformational leadership of continuing to bring the knowledge, continuing to bring what's evidence-based, continuing to bring you the truth. And then that's our text for learning. And then we just become even more scalable. And I've given you all the reasons why this is a real plan B. And that's my philosophy. And that's really my ideology of what I have for you tonight. And it's not about just using a lot of words that rhyme and making people feel good. You can make people feel good for a little bit, but that's not going to help with the numbers. That's not going to help them build their business. It's not going to help them. What's going to help them is real talk. What's going to help them is just getting real and getting deep and getting down in it and getting to it. That's what's going to help them. It's not about people getting on the stage and just saying, I'm just going to make you feel good for 30 minutes and I'm going to talk you into staying around for 2 years. That's not real. What's real is when you don't have to talk people into staying around because those people want to stay around. They want to be committed. They want to be part of the train. They want to be part of the business plan because it makes sense. It just makes sense. It's common sense. And so with that being said tonight, I'm going to turn the line back over to Dr. Johnson, and I'm going to have her control the call for the rest of the night. If you have Q&As for us, I'll be more than happy to answer some of those Q&As if you need me to answer. And I also encourage you to get back to the person that brought you into the call. If you got on the line and it's because of me, you know how to find me, you know how to find me on social media, and you know how to reach out to me. But keep this in mind, 3 things, and making sure this stuff is applicable, making sure it's meaningful, and making sure it's personal. And so with that being said, I want to turn this call back over to someone I have a lot of respect for, been working with for a long time, and we've really, really gotten into a relationship of building and having extensive growth in our business. And I'm just so happy that we're able to do this, and we have more that's coming. We have conferences that are being planned out. We have people that in Virginia that we want to get to help them with growth. And so that would be Dr. Blow and her team. We also, and so that's very important. The Maryland market as well is very important. That's important. And also we're doing Atlanta market, which is important to us at this point for growth. And I wanted to also welcome a new member in, Ms. Gail Kaufman. I wanted to welcome her in. I wanted to also welcome in Miss Mary Tate. I wanted to also welcome in Mr. James. I wanted to also welcome in Janice Jones. We have been humping. We're working. There's also Ms. Kathy. I want to welcome her in. I've been taking care of a lot of business on vacation, been getting these things done. So I just want to let you know our team is expanding. Our team is growing. We will be experiencing significant growth for teams on another side of us. And we're doing a lot of things with corporate as well. And we're getting ready for the new launch of what we have coming out. So it's some exciting things that are happening. A lot of us were scheduled for October 27th. That's moved to, is it November 17th? Okay, so it's that Saturday, November 17th. So that's going to give us even more time for planning with corporate. So we made a corporate decision with corporate today to change it to November 17th. So we're doing that today as well. And so we're deciding to do that. The place has been booked already, so we're getting that done. We're going to be getting stuff out. If you're in Indianapolis and you need invitations for that event to invite, let me know. If you need electronic invitations or even if you need personal invitations, those are being printed out, and we're going to instruct you the type of people that to invite and who to invite. And then also you'll use your common sense of knowing what's applicable to the people you invite, what's meaningful, and how personal is it to them. That's all that I asked you to do. We'll do the rest of the work from there once they get there. We just have some great things that are going on. And so right now at this point, I'm going to turn the call back over to Dr. Hausa Johnson for comments, for Q&A, and any announcements. Dr. Johnson, the call is yours now. I think you muted yourself.
Can you hear me?
There you go. Yes, you're unmuted.
Okay.
Go right ahead. The call is yours now.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Debbie. I would just like to first thank you for the information that you gave us this evening. As always, you just pour into us. We realize that these Tuesday evenings give us really an opportunity to grow into the leadership role that, we've all spoken up and said that we're willing to take on. You give us the skills, you give us the tools, and most shortly you give us the language, just how to relate our product, our opportunity, our perspective for how this really is a plan B for ourselves and others, how to just relate that to people. So I definitely want to thank you so much for that, because this is something that we don't find everywhere. And I definitely want to thank you for that. And with that being said, I'd also like to invite any of our listeners, if you have any questions or comments, now would be the time. You can *6 to unmute yourself and share your remarks or ask your question, please. Do we have anyone with a question or a comment? You can *6 to unmute yourself.
I know that they're, Dr. House. I just think some of them are just probably trying to really just take in what, how I can pretty much go deep, and sometimes people don't know what to say, and then they'll contact us after the call. So I pretty much think that's kind of
Well, I can definitely relate to that. I can definitely relate to that because, as usual, I have a page full of notes, and you know how small I write. So you definitely did. You gave us a lot to digest.
Well, just don't worry too much about that. This call is recorded. It's going to go in the university, and I'm going to just, create something around that because I know I need to because I just kind of pulled that out of my head. But one person I'm going to bring to the call tonight, and I know she's on here, so I'm going to pick a couple of people out. One young lady out of Atlanta. I'm just going to pick on the Atlanta team. One person out of Atlanta, Miss Gail Kaufman. We'd like to thank you and welcome you into the call tonight. I know you're there. I just unmuted you. And I just wanted you to kind of just explain what you thought about the call tonight and what you think about the contingency plan for Plan B and how relatable is that to you, and by you being in network marketing before, is this something that has been explained from this point of view, or what you think about it? I just want to hear some things from the field tonight. So, Ms. Gail Kaufman, if we can just hear from you, I'd be more than happy. The floor is yours. Don't mute yourself, Gail. I see you. Just go ahead and talk. Okay, I think she's having problems with her phone. You have to unmute. I think you have your phone on mute, Gail. So if you're talking, your phone is on mute. We'll come back to Gail. She'll come back to us in a minute. Mr. Staley, are you on the line tonight?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Can you just give us some feedback on what you think about our Plan B, since I've never broken it down before? What is your thoughts? If you can share your thoughts with us.
My thought on it is fantastic.
Uh-oh. Okay. All right.
I like the way you made it simple.
Absolutely.
The way that we can speak to someone else. I, like Doc, have paid full of notes, too. And,
well, you guys don't have to worry about having too many notes because I'm recording it and I'm going to create something in the university that you all can relate to. But just definitely have your notes because you might want to ask me later about those notes. So I'm okay with that because this is your Plan B. This is the Plan B for anyone that is actually listening. So that definitely is not a problem. So I'm glad that you took the notes. I'm glad. This is just something that had been on my mind all day. It just pretty much floored me. And so I needed to dig it out of me to be able to share it with the team of how we, do what we do or say what we say. And so I needed to be able to kind of share with new callers because we do have new callers on the line tonight, which I'll probably reach out to and call in unless you all know who you invited in the call tonight as well. So I just wanted to share that. And thank you, Willie, for your input. Did you have anything else you needed to say?
Well, also on a lot of information you gave us is true. And I just feel that it's communicable because as some of these, as you asking yourself, it's the same way you can ask someone else.
Yes.
Especially when you say if it's meaningful to you. How is it meaningful to you? And chances are it's going to be when you try to relate it to someone, you can always relate it to them as it was given to you. Does it make any sense?
That's correct. That's exactly that's the way that it has to be. You have to relay things in a way. Well, first you want to say, well, let me see if this person that I want to even speak to, the person that I'm speaking to, is this something relatable to them? So say, for instance, if you had someone, but you still can never judge anyone. You should never, ever judge anyone because you never know. But if you have someone standing in front of you, it's only one or two things, and you can't figure out how what you want to say to them is relatable to them, then you need to have a deeper and more meaningful conversation with them. because you haven't really taken the time to get to know them. So you can't have if you can't personalize it, you haven't had a meaningful enough conversation with them. So you need to go even deeper and have a more meaningful conversation, a more interactive conversation with them so that you can get to know them. Because everyone that you meet, you can't just say, oh, it's a person. I want to tell them about the opportunity. No, you need to build a relationship with them and then talk to them about the opportunity, because it's only fair. It's only the right thing to do. Because if you can't have you don't even know if you and this person can click, or if you and this person can work together, if this is somebody you can trust. You need to get to know people before you start running around doing head counts, because at that point you're not doing business, you're hustling. And so this is some of the greatest downfalls of people in business. When they start hustling, then you're hustling backwards. You're not moving forward. You're not moving your business forward. You're hustling backwards because you're not taking the necessary steps of meaningful conversations, relatable conversations, to be able to help people. And these are the things that we look at. Does that make sense, Mr. Staley?
Yes. Give you another example. I went into a tea tea restaurant today to just check around and see what was what. And I found out that you can't talk to the owner. What they do, they give you a written sheet, and one of the things they ask on there is how is this going to benefit me.
Exactly.
So that relates back to what we were saying.
Okay, so in a case like that, then you call me on the phone. This is what we do. You call me on the phone and say, I went to this place, and this is what we have, blah, 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 and how would this benefit? Okay, so then we go figure the place out. We pick that whole place apart and put it back together again. There's questions I'm going to ask you, and then you're going to get the answers for me so that I can help you. And then you're going to go back and fill it out, and we're going to type up how it's beneficial to them. And then at that point, you typed up something pretty good, and you say, at this case in point, I respectfully submit this to you, and at this point, I'm hoping to hear from you, but I do understand that what we have is very beneficial to you and your business and the growth and success of your business, and I believe that our product can be an asset to your bottom line. Boom, bam, done. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. And I do plan on getting back in touch with you.
Yeah.
I was surprised when I saw it most of the time. You talk to the owners there and stuff, but the young lady told me that they do it that way because they have a lot of people coming in and want to use them as a fundraiser. But I was telling them I'm not here for a fundraiser.
You're not a fundraiser. We're trying to contribute to your bottom line. That's all we're trying to do, and that's it. So that's what we're saying. Also, I'm gonna just bring someone in that I haven't talked to. Thank you, Willie. We'll talk tomorrow. I'm gonna reach you back. Thank you. Hold on, Mr. Thomas. How are you doing? I've already unmuted you. How are you doing, Charles? Charles, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Okay. I just want to ask you, I just want to get some feedback from the field tonight. How's everything down here in Virginia?
Everything's coming along pretty good. Had a slow week this week, but I use it to sit back, regroup, and study some things. But, everything happened for a reason.
Oh, yeah. So were you able to relate anything in this, what we shared tonight, were you able to relate anything that you feel that was relatable to your plan B of how you can actually grow and create scalable income and also scale your business through duplication? Was this helpful to you?
Yes, I was listening to what you said, and you was talking about our plan B, and the way that you explain it. And like you say, when you talk to that lady on the phone, you gave her information. Like a lot of times when, you should be able to explain your plan B, and it should relate to the person that you're talking to, whereby it's information that they need. I mean, when you need to have something that people need, and like giving them the information like you gave that lady. She was like, wow, I need to connect with that person. You became an asset to that person, whereby when we describe our plan B, we need to become an asset to anyone that we're talking to.
Absolutely. Become an asset. Asset management. Become an asset. Make everything that you have an asset. And so I've saved the last, and I thank you so much. I'm just happy to hear from you this evening. And we've got some work to do, too, with Virginia. So we got work to do, too. So we have a lot of work to do. We got work to do with Mr. Staley and his team and Gail Coffin down in Atlanta. So we got work to do with them and Annette, and we just got work to do all over the country. So I just want to say thank you. The next person, thank you, Charles. I'm going to mute you back because I have a young lady that's on the line, and I need to unmute her. We had a lot of fun this weekend, well, when I did get back. And so at this point, I want to call Miss Karen Tolliver. I'm calling you into the line. I'm calling you into the line. You've been unmuted, and I'm going to get to Brittany in a minute, too. I know she's there somewhere, I think. But anyways, Karen, I've unmuted you already. Can you share the experience based on what I was saying? If you could just be kind enough to share the experience from Sunday with the people of what they got out of it, what we got out of it, and what you got out of it. And so with that being said, I just want to just give you the floor. The floor is yours, Karen.
Okay, I missed some of it. So you said about Sunday or just about what you talked about today?
Well, Sunday, if you can share Sunday and how what I said tonight related to Sunday. If you can, just share with the team our experience on Sunday, how it all, what you saw, what we did. Just share the experience. Don't make it. It doesn't have to be relatable to tonight, but just we'll see each other tomorrow anyway. But just share with them our experience on Sunday, and it was a beautiful experience. And I just want to say that too. But the floor is yours now.
Okay. Well, friend of mine that's a two-time breast cancer survivor was still having pain from a surgery that she had, and I gave her some tea to try out because she was talking about how bloated that she still was because they had to take some of the tissue from her stomach as well. So I gave her some tea, and it was great for her. She said she basically lost some inches, and the hardness of her stomach, it had softened up. So she was really impressed with the tea. So she actually is part of the Susan G. Komen breast cancer walk, but she's not up to par to walk because she's in a fashion show that same day. So she doesn't want to overdo it. But she still had her team to come to meet her at her house, and they go over the plan for the walk. So she normally just has a chili dinner and invites them over. But this time she reached out to me, actually, and asked if we could come and talk about the tea, because she called it a tea party, but she said while she was going to already have a group of ladies together, if we could do it in conjunction with her event. So that's what we did. I gave Debbie the information about the event, so she was able to relate the tea to cancer, basically. It wasn't just about cancer, but most of the people there are breast cancer survivors, so she made it relevant to them. And we just kind of all did a little piece of it, and, Debbie brought in the biggest part of it. And, we kind of scouted the room to see how people was responding, and it got emotional for one person, but we actually was able to just sell tea to different individuals there to try. Some of them seem really interested in it, so we will reach out to them to see if they're interested in joining the team. But overall, that was our first one, Brittany and I. That was the first one that we had done like that, and we plan on doing other events like that just to get people in bulk. And sometimes they can ask questions that may not come up in just a one-on-one type setting. So that's the way we plan on operating for a while to reach the masses, and hopefully we'll gain some team members as well.
So that's awesome. That's awesome, Karen. What I got out of it that I want to share with the team is that was their first event, and they had sales. They were literally selling. And I was tickled pink because they were saying, well, we're paying for this tea. I think that's, to me. And I wanted to show them how smooth the flow could be. And it was so smooth that after it was all over, all they had to do was just ask whoever wanted to get the tea. I did my presentation. Brittany did her presentation. Karen did her presentation. I closed it. And after that, they understood all about the tea, how it related to them, how it related to breast cancer, and it was a done deal after that. And after that, the women were trying the tea. We actually left a whole lot of tea for other people to drink as well. And they now had a plan. They had their business plan. Their plan B was viable because they saw that this can work. I am able to make sales. I've got people buying from me right now. And so now their business is starting to become scalable. So it's a plan B for them. Now they understand how they're going to fit into the scenario of things of what works for them. And it was just because they took the initiative to schedule an event, and I told them, don't wait on me. You need to schedule your events and then let me know that they're scheduled, because if you're waiting on me to call you, I'm not going to call because I'm doing 50 million things. But if I know I need to show up, and if my schedule is there, I'm doing it. We're doing it. It's a done deal. So from there, we were invited to do the Red Door Foundation, which we're going to do. And so, Karen, thank you for sharing. Thank you so much. At this point, I'm bringing my last person to the call. Miss Brittany McDaniels, I unmuted you. Are you there? I see you. Brittany, can you hear me? You've already been unmuted. All you have to do is talk. Okay. I'm just going to leave her be. She might be, But Brittany was with us, too, and I just wanted her to share her experience. And the reason why I asked the two of them to talk is because it was their first event, and they had sales from their first event. Their very first event, and I was just so happy. And then when I turned around, it was a whole I didn't even know during the presentation they were so smooth with what they did that they had everybody in the room filled out the information. They didn't have to ask anybody. No one said no. I didn't even hear anybody even saying anything, as a matter of fact. All I know is when I turned around after I finished the presentation, the whole sheet was full. And at that point, after I finished, the whole room was clapping. And they were literally clapping. And at that point, I could see the excitement in Karen's face and Brittany's face. And I had kept my commitment to them. And I gave of myself. It was meaningful. And I was just excited. I wasn't excited for me. I was excited for them. And so that's the difference. I was just excited. And so I'm saying to each and every one of you on this call, the ones of you who were invited in, the team that's in it, we've been on almost for an hour now. But all I wanted to say to you all is that this thing is doable. This thing is real, and it's about to get even better. It's a lot of new things rolling out, and I'm not at liberty to speak about them, but I'm super excited about them. I'm so excited about all those things. And this team is really rolling. We've got people coming into this team every single week. I'm talking to new people every single day. People are contacting me about what I'm doing, how can they join. All kind of things are going on, and we've done better than expected. And the thing that really makes me even more humble is when you get to work with the owners of the company and you get to talk to them on a regular basis, and your team is included in what's going on. And these people have done $2 billion in sales collectively, and we know it, and we know it to be true. We've looked at it, and they've done this, and they're talking with us and working with us and working with our team. It is a very humbling feeling in that we are doing our part, and we're going to do even more. And so those are the things that I wanted to share with everybody on the line tonight. I wanted to thank everybody for coming into the call. I want to really thank my co-host, Dr. Hausa. I want to thank Charles for speaking. I want to I want to also thank Karen for speaking. I want to thank Willie for speaking, everybody's participation. And most of all, I want to thank everybody for even just coming into the call and giving us this time. And I hope that I've made it meaningful to you. I hope that I made it tangible to you. I hope that I've said something to impress upon you that this can work for you. And if you have questions and someone invited you into the call, they know how to get me on the three-way if you need to talk to me. If you need for us to talk, that's not a problem. I'm just excited for each and every one. And just keep living by what I'm telling you. Make it applicable, make it personal, and make it meaningful. If you can do those three things, then you have something. And if you can't do any of those three things, then you haven't gotten to know that person well enough, and you need to put in that time. And that doesn't mean talk to them for 2 weeks on and off. Hey, how you doing on social media? Strike up a meaningful conversation. And if it's meaningful enough, give them your number. You do the talk. You do the work. Talk to them and do the work. You know what I'm saying? Talk to people that you know and do the work, put the time in, and make sure that you let them know that you're coming from a place in your heart where you care. And you're not coming from a place that you're just beating them over the head because you want to make some money. Because trust and believe, it'll blow up in your face. And so with that being said, I want to encourage everyone to have a productive week. I want to encourage everyone to do something in life that's meaningful to somebody else, even if it's just opening up the door, saying hello, asking how you're doing, taking some time to smile at a person that you don't even know and just say, hey, how's your day going? How are you today? Hey, just something meaningful, just a small gestures create meaningful things, create meaningful conversations, and they lead to meaningful conversations. And just the last thing I want you to do is before we hang up this call, decide today is going to be the day that I decide to live my best life, and I'm going to live my best life. Every day is going to be my best life. No matter how hard, how turbulent, how many trials I face, I'm still going to, at the end of the day, I'm going to close my eyes and thank God for keeping me here, and I'm going to continue to move on and live my best life. And with that being said, I want to thank everybody for coming into the call, and this call is officially over. Thank you so much. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.